Hey, everybody, I'm Rick Walker with Maverick Multimedia and Maverick News, and I'm here with my co host.
Hi, I'm Brendan Kennedy with the Flow of Discourse podcast.
And this is our ongoing coverage of Freedom Convoy 2022 cruising to the Capitol. And man, we have so much information, so much video, so much stuff to share with you today. It has been just a day packed with all kinds of developments. We saw a protester run over. We
In Manitoba, we'll should.
Yeah, in Winnipeg. We have still an ongoing protest in Ottawa with thousands and thousands of people. Tons of people came back to the city today, even though there was, police have been trying to end the protest, and the people are not giving up. What else have we got going on, Brendan? Stuff in Toronto?
Yeah, so we had protests in Toronto. One sparked out at, like you said, in Manitoba, where people were protesting since last night. We also had GoFundMe change their tune from allowing the convoy organizers to donate to a charity that they deemed worthy, but they went around and turned it so that they're just going to give everybody their money back. So that happened. I believe that there is a Give, Send, Go campaign, which we'll probably advertise sometime throughout this podcast. And there's so much more going on at this point.
Yeah, a lot of people are furious over that, right? That GoFundMe thing, because GoFundMe froze the money, then said that they were going to give it, that they would work with the fundraising organizers, with the truckers, to give it to a charity that GoFundMe approved of
Yep.
and verified. So that could have been Black Lives Matter or who knows?
Just about
right?
anybody.
It could have been anything.
Could have been anything.
Yeah, when that was never what the money was intended for. It was, if there was any money left over, it was supposed to go to veterans, a veterans group, I believe.
Veterans group. Any money left over would have went to a veterans group or stuff like that. Interestingly enough, I did see that some people tried to make a GoFundMe to have litigation against GoFundMe for the situation. The GoFundMe reached about $250 before they shut it down.
Yeah, well, I would not be at all surprised if there is a lawsuit filed against GoFundMe in the end, and maybe even the Ottawa Police Service, the municipality of Ottawa, maybe even other government organizations or departments, because there were accusations leveled against the protesters, the organizers, and the GoFundMe said that they were funding illegal or unlawful operations. Anyway, that's kind of the I guess the surface of what's been going on with the GoFundMe thing. But there is a, what is it? What's the name of the alternative platform? Give, Send, Go?
Give, Send, Go, yeah.
Now, I clicked on that link earlier. I don't have the link for you because when I was going to it, the link was going to a dead page. It seemed to be blocked. So I don't know if Google is blocking it, if there's something else going on. But I will tell you this, the government, from the beginning of the protest in Ottawa, made it clear they wanted to get their hands on that money. The mayor of Ottawa talked about going after the funds to recoup the costs of cleanup and policing surrounding this protest in Ottawa. And the police chief also mentioned the funds. They made it clear they were going after that money from the very beginning. This has been, one of the tools in their toolkit as they sort of wage war against the protesters in Ottawa. And we'll have a lot more to say about all of that as well. But what else can we do just to kind of tee things up here? We do have some footage from Ottawa to share with you in just a minute.
Yeah, I agree. So let's I think that's about it. Country singer Paul Brandt. So one of the things we haven't seen too much with this is that we haven't seen a lot of, we haven't seen really any celebrity endorsement, but country singer Paul Brandt has thrown his hat into the stake with what's going on. So I thought that was a pretty interesting move in getting this mainstream. And that's like, to be honest, like I know things are looking kind of grim, but I still think that this is a horn that's been heard around the world. Like, it's incredible. Nothing will be the same ever again after this is done.
Yeah.
No matter what the outcome.
So Paul Brandt, the country singer, he flew food and supplies into the protesters on the Alberta-Montana border, right? I guess not today, but I think it was yesterday. And I heard that he was going to put on a concert, as even in the face of police there saying that they were going to go in and remove that blockade at the border. So
I could share that story right now. They flew it in via helicopter to the Alberta-Coutts border.
I'm going to bring this first.
Wait, one sec. Wrong box.
Yeah.
Hold up. Wrong box here. I'll get it.
Okay.
Whoopsie.
And Carla has just sent us a video as well. Carla Olson, our eyes and ears in Ottawa. She has been out shooting video, meeting with people, interviewing people on the scene in the nation's capital. And she is going to give us the lay of the land in just a minute. So what do we have here? Can I bring that up?
Yeah, bring it up, please. So this is Paul Brandt, the country singer, and they just delivered food to the border via helicopter.
Yeah.
Talk about excellent use of FU money, if you ask me.
Yeah, we also have, yes, I mean, while in Ottawa, the police chief has made it clear they're trying to cut off food, water, and fuel to the truckers on Parliament Hill and all the protesters and people up there.
So we just got very lucky with those people at the border, at the Alberta-Coutts border. Like, what a standoff.
Yeah. So, here's Carla. Here's a video that she just sent in, and this is what's going on as of just a short time ago on Parliament Hill.
So it does appear we have lost Rick Walker.
Or heard of, with any agitators. They've been saying the police chief in Ottawa did say that they were going to, pull it, start like finding people, becoming more aggressive towards the people because they say that we're so aggressive and that the police have been reporting these things. Look, I've been talking to police. They don't want to go on camera, obviously, because they can't, but they're saying that the vibe has been the same, that they feel like that people are being extremely respectful. I don't know. Maybe the police chief should come down and actually see what's happening. I can't say that every single police officer has been, that there haven't been a couple that have maybe said something, but like, I got to move. I'm taking over one of the few spots left to set up a food table. This is a party. This is a freedom party right here in Ottawa. Amazing. I'm just going to turn the camera around. We're going to take a little walk up to Wellington Street. I'm going to just peruse the crowd. I would like to try to interview some people like I've been doing, but no guarantees. It is just so crowded and it's loud. And, the government is saying that we've occupied Ottawa. It's been 9 days. I can't really disagree. It feels like an occupation, but it's the biggest party I have ever seen in my life. and everybody's just filled with love and with joy. It's amazing. I wish each and every one of you were here. Just across the street is that Tim Hortons, the one that lets anyone go inside, use the bathroom. You can go in and eat. They treat you like a human being. You don't have to show your papers, your QR code to go in there. Kids and parents making food. This is absolute chaos, but it's fabulous chaos, guys. It's amazing.
So lots of people back in Ottawa today. And yeah, I mean, it does still seem like the festival kind of atmosphere is ongoing there.
Now, what I think is kind of strange. So there's been kind of a narrative that they made where they're talking about how people who live in Ottawa are quite disrupted by this, which I'm sure some of them are, because just about everybody who lives in downtown Ottawa, I would imagine they're pretty liberal, they're pretty government oriented, and I'm sure this is the last thing that they kind of wanted to deal with. But I think there's a big misconception with how they are indicating that people who live in Ottawa are really upset by this.
But you know what? I saw, and there were some people talking today about the traffic jam down there and the gridlock and so on. But it wasn't the people actually that I heard talking weren't upset with the protesters. They were upset with Ottawa police because they were blocking off roads. They blocked off all these bridges, and they were preventing people from getting through in an efficient way. And it was just causing massive backups of traffic because the police chief ordered all these roads and bridges closed right down, and the only way you could get through is to show them your papers. They wouldn't, of course, let any trucks through, and if you wanted to go in certain areas, you had to show them papers and explain where you were going and why you were going there. So welcome to a totalitarian city, and that's how traffic moves when you have that kind of response. So that wasn't because of the truckers. That was because the cops were told to block off all those access routes. We have a lot of clips to show you tonight. A lot of stuff to share with you. If we have time, I'll try and find one of those interviews that was done, because that is exactly what the feedback was from some of the local residents. Now, I guess you could argue that if the protest wasn't there at all, the police wouldn't be blocking off the streets. But it also depends on how police respond, right? And we have a clip coming up from a news conference in Winnipeg where that protester was run over. And you'll note that there's a very different tone from the police service in Winnipeg in their news conference than there was with the police chief in Ottawa, who has decided to take a very hard line with these protesters. And we haven't quite seen it yet, but I'm telling you, behind the scenes, they are getting ready to crack down hard on this thing. And that's very concerning.
How many days would you give that, would you say, Rick?
I don't think they're going to want to do anything when you have families down there and a large crowd. We have parents down there today with kids. They were setting up bouncy castles for the kids. This really has been a rally or a festival type of thing from the very beginning, and that's what's been maintained all the way along. Regardless of what the mainstream media has been reporting and all of the fear-mongering that's been going on, you've seen the raw footage here. You're seeing raw footage right now. This is what's going on. It's like a festival. It's like a freedom festival. And police might have other intelligence we're not aware of that make them concerned and want to go in there and start, bringing in the muscle. But honestly, you've heard the reports from Carla, and you've seen everything going on, and this to me looks as organized and as safe and it has the same vibe as any summer or winter festival that we've seen. They canceled Winterlude down in Ottawa, and for some people, I think this has been a replacement. This is like Freedom Lude. I think I've heard a few people say that. So
That's all we've been seeing. We've been doing this for over a week now, and this is what we're seeing. Like, this is Canada's week-long Woodstock, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and I mean, I know the government doesn't like it. Justin Trudeau doesn't like this, and he still has not come out to talk to these protesters.
Well, that's because he doesn't like freedom.
Well, that's right. These people are fighting for freedom. They're fighting to preserve and restore the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. And so what are the people on the other side fighting against? What are they fighting for? What's Justin Trudeau fighting for? He doesn't want freedom back. He doesn't want you to have your freedom. He doesn't even really address that. These are people with unacceptable views. Oh, they want their freedom. They want their Charter of Rights and Freedoms back. The Charter of Rights and Freedoms that he shredded.
Well,
he got rid of all your rights because of using COVID as an excuse. People here are saying we want them back, and he's saying no. I won't even talk to you. And because of that, you people are a bunch of racists. Now tonight, the other thing we've seen is farmers have been coming down and supporting these protests. They've brought tractors into some side streets here. To back up the truckers. We've seen tractors, farmers in other cities. So I guess now farmers are going to be racists too. So I guess one group of people after another, and Justin Trudeau likes to group, put people into little categories and groups with his identity politics. So he just going down the line, man. Oh, this group's pissed off with me, so they're racist. Oh, yeah, truckers are all racist now. Oh, yeah, farmers, they're down there, racist. All the racist farmers. When does it stop? He's running out of groups. He's running out of Canadians. He's running out of fringers. I guess the whole country's fringe now because it seems pretty united. Oh, if those cops bring any food or water to anybody, they're probably racist too. Anyway, that's what's going on down there tonight, folks. And as you can see, still everything seems to be very peaceful. In fact, completely peaceful. Nothing's being burned down, regardless of the suggestions that people are being harassed and intimidated. We're not seeing it here in the raw footage.
I've seen something about that, and I did send it to you today, and we were both kind of disgusted at the job CTV did, but that goes without saying. They were interviewing somebody who is a member of the Hotels Union of Ottawa. It sounds to me like a lot of the harassment is people walking into the hotels without wearing masks, and then employees getting into arguments with people about it.
Yeah, the Hotel Association, the head of the Ottawa Hotel Association did an interview on CTV News, and the news anchor his question says, well, if they're with the protest, why would you even let them book a room? Because they have the freedom to travel, the freedom to visit a city, and you shouldn't discriminate against people?
You mean you let people into your hotel without a mask? Shouldn't you have kicked them out?
And so what, you ask everyone where they're going and why they're in town before you book them a room? Like it's any of your darn business? Well, I mean, it's like but don't book to anybody who might, have a different point of view than you. Shun them. Segregate them. Don't let them participate in society. If they're not vaxxed, if they're not masked, if they think differently than you, if they wear the wrong clothes, if the skin color is wrong, some of these, talk about prejudice, talk about bigotry. It's becoming very apparent in and manifesting itself in different ways in this country. It has been over the past couple of years, and at the root of it all is the rhetoric that's been spewing out of the prime minister's mouth. People with unacceptable views. Should we tolerate these people? He says.
We've been warned about these identity politics type people for many years now, and they all said that it all leads to this type of garbage.
It's very dangerous. These are the people that Justin Trudeau is afraid of. He's not just afraid of these people, folks. He's afraid of you. He's afraid of Canadians. These are not fringe people. These are his people. These are Canadians. But I don't think I'd even say they're his people anymore because I don't really know who Justin Trudeau's people are. It's not Canadians. These are Canadians from all walks of life. Well, anyway, that's what's been going on with Carla down in Ottawa, and the protest has been spreading. The Ottawa police have been talking about cracking down on this. They've made it clear that their goal now is to end the protest in Ottawa. But what we have seen is the protest spread across the country. And today, a big protest erupted in Toronto at Queen's Park. And here's some footage that I will cue up from Vaughan Mills.
Beautiful. And in the next 8 or so minutes, we're going to have an individual who was there on the ground. We'll share some of his footage when he gets on.
Sure. One moment. I just have to find the right clip for you folks. Well, here's some footage from where are we here? Here's some footage from downtown Toronto. This is at Bloor and Avenue Road today.
Yeah, this is the main area. Going that way.
Holy smokes. You can't see down the end of the street. Like, it's all people.
Yeah. And of course, police in Toronto have been, well, they took steps to try to control traffic and implemented crowd control measures there as well today. Their approach, though, seemed to have a slightly different tone than what the police chief wants to implement in Ottawa.
Well, you know, Toronto has had some, like, if you could recall, we spoke to Adam Beans from the Anonymous Automatons podcast, and he had stated that he'd been to lots of protests in Toronto.
Yes.
Like, they've had similar numbers to this before.
Yep. Yes, they have. The point here, though, is other places. So, yeah, I don't think that. I just don't think that if the police chief goes in there and starts yanking all those trucks out of Ottawa, that it won't bring this thing to an end. The people aren't giving up. They're fed up. In fact, I would go a little bit further than that, and I would say the people are kind of at the point right now, from what I'm seeing across the country, they're not asking for their freedom back. They're just saying, we're taking our freedom back, whether you like it or not. And if these mandates continue, I think you're going to see a larger and larger portion of the population simply refusing to comply.
That's just it. Like, I mean, what can they really do on so many levels? Like, there's a lot of the COVID enforcement that's been abandoned. I would almost use the word abandoned, where they haven't been doing anything with it, like COVID hotlines for snitch on your neighbor, stuff like that. Like, a lot of that has gone to the garbage.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're also seeing the mandates kind of coming to an end, right? In many jurisdictions, Saskatchewan has announced it. Alberta is moving in that direction. We're seeing it in other countries, and that is putting more and more pressure on Justin Trudeau to take action and the mandates here as well. So this footage is from Vaughan Mills, and this was a convoy forming there. All these cars forming, getting staged, ready to go down to Queen's Park, and that was about, I don't know, 10, 12 hours ago. So that was, during the earlier portion of the day. But that helps give you a sense of how large the protest.
Gives you a sense of how large the protest actually is. That is a parking lot that is absolutely filled with Canada flags. I could only imagine that all those people there are essentially a part of this big convoy. This is a lot of dedication to organize. It's a lot of dedication to put together, and that's just a good indicator as to how fed up people are with all this stuff. I'm sorry, Rick, your stream had died on us. And it died again. So I am going to just have to wait because he owns the StreamYard box. Oh, there he is. Rick Walker, meet Rick.
Sorry there, Brendan. We've and folks at home, we're just having a little internet trouble.
Do you think maybe it might work better if I stream the queued up videos?
Yeah, you can try. It might help. Yep.
Might help? Okay. All right. So I will get that footage there. Because it was starting right at the convoy, and then it cut out.
And we do have footage of the of that unfortunate, tragic incident out in Winnipeg of the protester being run over. We'll bring that up here momentarily.
Okay, hold up.
Which footage are you looking for, Brendan?
We were just looking at the Toronto convoy, and
Yep.
I have it here. Just to totally shut everything down once it started streaming. Okay, perfect. Here we go. You ready?
Yeah.
There we go. That
Yeah.
works better. Now we're cooking with gasoline.
Let's bring the audio down a bit.
Roger. And look at the size of that parking lot. How many cars would you guess are there?
Really difficult to say. And to be fair, we don't know how many cars are there for other reasons, right? But with all, you see all those Canadian flags, though? You see how far back they go? So that gives you an indication of how big this thing was today. I mean, that shows you that they're filling the bulk of that parking lot.
That's dedication right there. That's dedication. That's people are fed up with what's going on and they're sick of it. It was although it was a sunny day in Ontario today, I would imagine it's a bit cold for a convertible ride.
And it looks like we have our guest here with us too, Brendan.
Oh, beautiful. Let's bring him on.
Hello, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you guys?
Great.
Doing great.
Yeah, nice, beautiful day out there today.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to just start out by introducing yourself.
My name's Mark Henry Provenche, and been in business pretty well all my life. Was a musician when I was younger, and that was kind of a good time, formative years. Getting out on the road, playing music, traveling around, learning a lot about life, and settled down now. Grandfather of 3 of 4 young babies, and thinking about our country and which direction it's going in, not liking what I see, and hoping that we could pull it all back together, take our country back.
So, what were you up to today? Where were you?
My wife and I spent pretty well the whole day out at Queen's Park, and got to hear a lot of the speeches. We found a little, it seemed like a little knoll or something, a little berm that we could stand up on. We had probably the most coveted spot in the whole place, but we were able to really take advantage of all the knowledge, information that came from that meeting. It was really great. It was a good way to start off this protest.
I see. And what were you seeing down there today? Here's some footage from.
Yeah, this looks like
Toronto.
it looks like something. I'm not sure if this is where we were, but in the area. It seemed like
I got some of his footage. I got some of his photos. If you want to pull up my screen there.
Yeah. But what was cool is that a lot of people showed up at Queen's Park. It was really well represented. A lot of patriots, great people, amazing people, and very peaceful. And it was very enjoyable to see. It gave me a lot of hope for Canada after being there. So it was pretty good.
So,
And,
what was the tone like down there today? Was it peaceful? Was it festival?
The tone was very festival. Very festive. A lot of families, young people, older people, very passionate people that are a great asset to Canada, and their voice should be heard.
So, were trucks blocking streets? Were streets blocked off?
Yeah. There was a lot of. It seemed like there was a lot of dump trucks and buses blocking off the main corridor to the Queen's Park, and I think they were trying to grab more every inch was being battled over. It seemed a lot of police cars parked in the way, and I could see them wanting to keep those laneways open, which looks like they did a really good job. I mean, the police officers are out there doing a great job. Great,
Mm.
great people, and it's good. It's good to have them around to make sure things stay peaceful, right?
Yes. And
So
what were people saying? I mean, the in Ottawa, of course, the protesters are saying they're staying, they're not leaving until all the mandates are lifted. So is that what's going on in Toronto, or do you even know what the
uh,
intent is?
it seemed like coming back or leaving after we left, we walked around through Yonge Street, different places, and a lot of people still into Queens Park area, and yeah, there's families, young children, moms, single moms with children in strollers. Just amazing, like people that you'd wonder, um, where's all this patriotism hidden in regular times, and I guess this is a great venue for it to come out. People
Yeah.
want to speak about their country, and they want to. This is I can't remember which street this was on, but we were
The
right there. We were right there.
Bloor.
I said Bloor, yeah. So Bloor and probably University or something like that.
Yeah, I can't see the other sign.
Yeah, amazing. Like there was those trucks there were just pushing their way in, inching their way in, taking any inch they could, and they did all they could do. The truckers are amazing, and they were just putting their horns on and making a ruckus, and yeah, really nice to see the truckers out there taking a stand. See, the thing is, when people don't have a way to speak, this is what happens, and the mainstream media has been isolating people. The information you can't even, we're staying at the Chelsea Hotel, and you got two channels on there that you might get news from, and you're not getting anything anything like what is happening down there right now. So
Oh wow.
it's not even close.
So, question for you there. Adam Bean says it looks like Bloor and Avenue. Doug Ford had hinted that the protesters would be looking to attack hospital workers. Is that what happened?
Yeah, no, and it's amazing. It's amazing how the media walks through every scenario, and they talk about the scenario, which is totally outrageous, and then they'll pin it down like, if this happens and this is probably going to happen, so they should go out there, and we're having these two protests going on at the same time. We're going to be violence. Just amazing how the media incites violence. Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
the
So
police.
after being
Okay.
down there, you're telling us that what we're hearing from CTV, CBC, Global,
Yeah.
the mainstream newspapers, that it's not
Yeah.
accurate.
No, I and I heard about that when the election, after the last election. I heard something about the mainstream media getting newspapers not getting $600 million taxpayers' dollars to feed their coffers, and I was thinking to myself, does that really? I mean, is that something gangsters do? Like mob,
Mhm.
and it's amazing how they can get away with it, and taxpayers are not saying anything about it.
You
And
could bring the screen back up, Rick.
Sure. And so obviously you feel that, especially after seeing what you saw down there today and seeing the reports that we're getting from mainstream media, you think that money
Yeah.
has had an influence over the way they're covering
Yeah.
this story?
Well, you can buy a lot of propaganda for $600 million.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how that worked or what happened, but it just seemed. I remember hearing about it, and I thought, well, maybe that's a regular budget line? $600 million for mainstream media. I've never heard of anything like that before, but it's amazing.
So what was it about? What was it that prompted you to go down there? Why did you feel compelled to to go down and check this out and immerse yourself in it.
Well, I'm from Northern Ontario, and things are a little bit different up there, I suppose, a lot of different ways. We know a lot of truck drivers, we know a lot of farmers, we know a lot of people that run different kinds of businesses where they're in a place where, where they could maybe not need or not want the vaccination. I believe vaccinations. Um, our family, grandchildren, everybody gets vaccinated. It's important. I mean, one time when polio went through, it was devastating, and people had to get on board and make sure that they eradicated polio at that time, and that's the way it was. But I think this, for something that was like 1% chance of getting the virus or ending up in the hospital, like these numbers don't add up, and I'm just wondering what is the agenda to getting this out so bad right now, like pushing it that far, and I'm not against vaccinations, like traditional vaccines, which work, take a piece of the virus and put it in your body so that your body can learn how to fight it. I'm all for that. And I suppose we have a new method of, boosting our immune system in a certain way now with this mRNA product, and which is new. And apparently, it's some people are talking like it's really working well. I don't know. I thought it was measured on how many that I remember when it was first touted. You can see your grandchildren. You can, if you get the shot, everybody's going to be happy, and we can all, fight this virus together as a team. A lot of people rolled up their sleeves and stood up to be counted and got the vaccine, and now they're being told something different, that, well, it's just going to make it easier for you to go through the hospital, not go to the hospital or something, which is not even quantifiable. Like, who knows what the numbers are when it comes to that. So
Mhm.
so I hope it
So you
works.
feel it should be a personal choice, not something that the government should force upon people or
Well,
coerce people by taking away their jobs?
from what I know from the Constitution, the Canadian Constitution, is that we have autonomy over our bodies and our the way we are, and how can we force people to do something like this? Really, I mean, I think the government got lucky with 90% or 80% of the people being vaccinated, and and people, well-meaning, went and got it because they thought that this was the solution, the total solution to this. Now here we are, 12, you know, uh, 24 months later, and we really haven't resolved it yet. Probably the best thing that's going on right now is what the virus is a little weaker, and maybe it spreads a little faster, and everybody's going to get inoculated uh, by getting sick. And that's probably going to be the thing that saves us, and it won't be the politicians, and it won't be the medical chiefs. Uh, it'll be the vaccine itself went through the populace and made us all immune. If we haven't messed that up, I don't know. Mother Nature has a way of making it work, but if you mess with Mother Nature, and it might not be working. Like, who, we don't know. Nobody knows, right?
No.
So uh, I think a lot of people have buyer's remorse right now. Do they want the 4th shot, 5th shot, 6th shot, 7th shot? And then these mandates to have to carry a card around with you and show your papers. I mean, we've seen what happens when countries fall for this kind of stuff before. This is not something that's new. This is something that's happened before.
So you
And
so you think that a lot of this stuff is not necessarily about a virus or your health. The government has overstepped its authority and is using this as an excuse to implement other measures.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's so many. I mean, just it gets me dizzy. You hear all the conspiracy theorists and different things like that, and sometimes I start, somebody I was thinking was a crazy guy maybe 2 years ago. I'm listening to him now, and I mean, he's not that far off. You know what I mean? He's starting to sound like he might. It was, I mean, time is going to bear this thing out, and I think the politicians have to find a way to get away from this. I mean, politically, politically, you don't want to be locked in the corner with this thing, and if it presses over the next 6 months, I mean, this is going to get crazy. I mean, you think if they had some political people behind them that would say, "Listen, why don't you just step back from this? Tell everybody that the virus is we have to live with it now. Let's put a system together where we can all work together on it to try to mitigate any more further infections. Here's some medication you can take if you get sick. Take a few of these, and you'll feel better. You won't end up in the hospital, and it gives time for and the politicians step away from it. Just step away from it. Don't go down with this sinking ship. You don't want to be you
That's
don't want
a
to be hanging you don't want to be hanging onto the flagpole while the Titanic's going down. You know what I mean?
no. I absolutely love this picture you had put out, and do you know what the story behind that was, or
This one here.
yeah?
I don't think that's my picture. I don't remember seeing that, but that
Oh,
yeah, might be another one.
okay. No, I thought it was. Sorry, my bad.
Okay.
But it was a good one, though. I have to say.
That was a good one for sure. No,
Chairman
and it's
Truman.
and it's good. It's good what you guys are doing. You guys are on the front line with the truckers. I mean, the truckers are doing their thing in the front line. I mean, they're carrying in the artillery and getting things ready to go on the front line, and you guys are backing it up. And I think for every mainstream media, for every one mainstream media place out there's probably 30 broadcasters on this right now, right? you know, and so I mean, this is new, right? This is not something that we've ever thought of before. In the Americas when they were battling the king to they had a revolution there in Boston Harbor and dumped the tea and said, no, we're not paying any taxes, no taxes, well, representation. And then they turn around and were able to I just got distracted there for a second.
Oh, it's
But
okay.
yeah, and so back in those days they had pamphleteers. And the pamphleteers, their job was, right, you'd have a printing press in your basement, you had it hidden, nobody knew who you were, and you're out there all day long putting up posters, and that's what you guys are doing right now. I mean, you guys are getting that message out there, like, so it's and, if there's something bad, hey, listen, I want to hear it. If there's something good, I
Yeah.
want to hear it. I want to hear it. I want to hear it all.
Yep.
And rather than getting a narrative from a lot of these talking heads, you get a narrative that they want to spread. I don't want the narrative really. I mean, it's like the legacy media. I just listen to it and they go through every scenario. How bad, I mean, what if this happened and this is going to happen? You better prepare for this because this might happen. And you got all these scenarios and they're getting people spooked. There's no stability in it at all. So it's like I can see where people, you got to understand that these people that they did one for the team. They probably felt very patriotic. They went and got their shots. All that kind of stuff. And we got to leave them a way out. We got to leave them a lifeboat because we got to just get them to take a peek. Peek behind the curtain. Take a look and see that little wizard in there is maybe not all you were piped up about. So,
That's been a common theme that we've received from some of the people that we've talked to. Like, we need to leave the other side a way out and a way in, and we need to allow them to understand And the biggest thing is like they're all welcome to our team. Like we're not like them
Yeah.
where it's like, oh, either you're with us or you're against us. It's like, well, no, it's like, you're still welcome with our team. I'm sure a lot of people, like what you said about buyer's remorse, are probably going to regret some of the tattoos that they got about it and that sort of thing. I don't know if anybody's seen that before, but some people went and tattooed the date of their first vaccination and that sort of stuff. I think a lot of those people will end up regretting that, but
Yeah.
remains to be seen.
Yeah.
What type of world? You said that you're a grandfather now, and what type of world do you want Canada to be for your grandchildren?
I mean, we are truly blessed, and I mean, the system that we have. Think about it. I mean, capitalism. Everybody individually trying to achieve something to protect their own family, gain their own life. The pursuit of happiness, all that stuff, individual rights, is a system that obviously works because everybody in the world wants to come here. Everybody wants to come to North America, and you have to. They're sharing there. um, that's the spot we were. Yeah, there. That's the podium up there. Everybody's up there speaking. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So when you think of our system, the system of government, is it perfect? No, it's not. But it's the best thing going. And people vote with their feet. People leave their families in other countries and come to Canada. And they still do in droves. And we got a lot of talented, beautiful people from all over the world with different talents and different skills that have brought us to where we are today. And we got to we got to show them that we can be civil, and we can be loving and caring, and want to take care of our neighbor. And but we don't want anybody putting their thumb on us. I mean, nobody wants to have that feeling. I don't know. There's it must be awful. I heard of a young man who was he was he had a young family, and he was having to go to work, and the only way to go to work is he had to get the shot, and he was really torn about it, and and he ended up getting the shot, but he just felt really bad about it. And I thought to myself, to take the spirit of a young man like that, who's fighting to feed his family and trying to get ahead and pursue happiness and do what he's got to do to make life better for himself and his family, his community, and you just tear him down to nothing because he had to humbly walk in with his head down and suck it up and get a shot. How many times have we done that? How many times have we done that to our military? How many times have we done that to our police forces and nurses and all those people who you demoralize a large section of the country, and they don't feel too good about it, and now they have buyer's remorse. So we do have to make sure that it's hard to convince people of different things, but if you speak to them and just generally want to know what they're all about, they'll probably have a good reason for why they're thinking the way they are, and they just need you to listen to it, and then that'll eventually open up the doors to having a dialogue with everybody and come together with something. And I just wish maybe somebody's got to listen to Mr. Trudeau for a little while, so he can listen. There's a big part of Canada that's hurting, and he could come out and make a difference, or he can keep this divisiveness going. And but it just seems like every time he opens his mouth, it gets pretty divided.
And at this point, he's still refusing to come out to even talk to the people.
I'm wondering if he's in hiding, or has he fled the country, or maybe he's down in Bolivia or something.
Well, he appears to be in Canada somewhere. But,
maybe he's in Joe Biden's basement.
You must be disappointed that he's still refusing to just talk to the people, right?
Yeah, he should talk to the people. I mean, we need a good leader, and he can be that person right now. He can come out in a good way, because I don't know if it's going to end up good the way it is. But it'd be nice if he could. You know,
Well,
Of course
it
not.
seems to me it's incredibly irresponsible of him to continue to refuse to talk to the people. These are not terrorists. These are not uh, the fringe minority that he makes them out to be. These are
yeah,
everyday, hardworking, middle class, upper middle class, poor people, people from all walks of life, as we've seen in all the cities where all of these protests are going on. They're farmers and truck drivers and uh, secretaries and insurance agents and car salesmen and
yeah,
street sweepers and people who even work in parliament. Um, and if he doesn't come out to talk, this thing just continues to escalate because
yeah,
it continues to be a standoff. Every
yeah,
minute that goes by, it becomes the potential for something really tragic to happen.
yeah,
It mounts, right? The
yeah.
longer it goes on, the more likely it is that something bad could happen. And
And those, yeah,
all he has
and
to
those.
do is come out and talk.
That's right. And those tough truck drivers. I mean, they're a tough breed. They're hardworking, and they love their families, and you want to have them on your side. So if you find a way to get that over there, that'd be really great. I was listening to I don't know if you saw that video, Brian Peckford and Jordan Peterson. Have you seen that interview?
Of course,
Yeah,
yes. Yeah.
yeah,
That's just amazing. That's just amazing. I mean, guys like Brian Peckford, they're part of a generation that whole generation is going to be gone soon, and he's up there beating the drum for our rights that are very special, and um, you know uh, I went through the times when they were building the Constitution. I remember that, but I never really put a lot of understanding into it. I never really could put two together what it all meant.
And for
But
people at home who maybe don't know what we're talking about, Brian Peckford is the former premier of Newfoundland. He served as the premier of Newfoundland from 1979 to 1989, and he is the last surviving signatory, the last surviving author of
right,
Canada's Charter of Rights and Freedoms, which
right,
was approved by 9 provinces and the federal government in 1981. And the federal government has used COVID as an excuse to suspend the Charter of Rights and Freedoms and bring in all of these mandates, effectively taking away your rights and your freedoms, using the notwithstanding clause in it. But in order to do that, the government really was supposed to meet a very uh, a very high standard. And Brian Peckford is saying that they failed to meet that standard. And he is suing the federal government. And
yeah,
that's what we're talking about here.
yeah. That's amazing. So they got to get this guy in a studio somewhere and record his top 50 speeches.
yeah.
So we
No,
could all
it's
he could leave that legacy for us to listen to forever.
Very, very
Yeah,
smart. And today, even though he's getting up there in years, he is sharp as a tack.
yeah,
And
he doesn't want to have to do this. Like he would much rather be retired than be battle starting like this major legal battle, which I may add is probably like the first legal battle with real teeth in it. So
yeah.
I'm very excited for that. But definitely, it's a podcast worth listening to. I know I cried when I watched it.
Oh, did he have a speech? He had a speech today, didn't he? Somewhere?
He had one in Ottawa
Yeah,
couple days, I
it,
think
it,
last weekend.
yeah. That was an amazing speech.
And we did play that on one of our shows. Like we've been doing
Yeah,
this so long now, it's starting to all blur together.
we'll have to get his top 10 Brian Pickford hits or something,
Yeah,
so we can listen. So we can listen to it when we go to bed at night.
well, we've seen so many things happen with protests, and we've seen, you know, various legal challenges and pseudo legal challenges. None of it to this point has really been effective. But this with what Brian Peckford is doing, I think this has a real potential to make a big difference. But the federal government can drag that on for quite a long time. So
I
the
know.
protests that we're seeing today are still an integral part of everything going on, and it feels like the tide is turning. At least that's my sense. What do you think, Mark?
I think that, like I said before, that Mother Nature is gonna wrap this up in due course, and it's going to maybe give these leaders a back door that they can, maybe take a bow and get off the stage and let the whole thing play out.
Mm-hmm.
They got to find a way to just get away from it. Just politically speaking, I'm kind of, I thought we've elected a conservative in Ontario, and I still hope we did, and I still hope there's a conservative bone there somewhere in Mr. Ford's body, that he can come out and maybe take a stand and do something that's conservative. And I know he doesn't want to go against his people there, but
Well, yeah, and I hope that something does happen pretty quickly because, uh, we did see one protester run over in Winnipeg today, and we do have the footage of that coming up, and and tensions seem to be on the rise in Ottawa because of these inflammatory statements and the confrontational language that the police chief in Ottawa has been using. He's seems ready to crack down. He's basically declared war on the protesters. Says their
yeah.
goal is to shut things down there. The tone in Toronto, though, seems to be different. And what was your sense there today? Is this going to continue into tomorrow?
I think it'll lighten up. I don't think that anybody's committed to a big standoff here, because I think the biggest mandate that the truckers are looking for, which I don't blame them, is this vaccine passports probably, and the idea that you got to something negotiated between Joe Biden and Trudeau about the border. Um, I think if those were taken down, or just maybe tomorrow the numbers will come out. It's going to be great. Hey, it's time to shut it down. Let's go. Thank you very much. It was a great seeing you tonight, and have a good future. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know. I heard John Tory today. He sounded pretty stable in a way. He sounded pretty good, which is good. I mean, he must have been under a lot of stress there coming up to this. It seems like they did a really good job. They kept the hospitals clear. People were able to get out there in March and have their voices heard, and hopefully. Hopefully it continues. I'm not sure, like you say, if it's going to continue on past tomorrow, but everybody's back to work tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Hopefully everybody gets step back, take a breather, and get back home and
Yeah.
take a break. Get back at it. But those troopers out there in Ottawa, you got to hand it to them. They're a great bunch of people.
But today, the mood festive, and everyone was safe.
Yeah.
No incidents that you're aware of. We haven't heard of any reports of arrests or anything of that nature. These media reports saying that truckers might be harassing or targeting healthcare workers, and maybe attacking them.
I think when they were done with the speeches at Queen's Park, when they wrapped up the speeches, everybody was leaving. I think because they only went to 1:30, so they were done their protests, and then I don't think anybody saw anybody that was that way. Well, I think we were walking down Yonge Street, and one person had some negative stuff about those that weren't vaccinated, which is unfortunate, and she was walking up and down the street showing it off. But I don't think she got too many honks. But
Sorry, showing what off?
It was a placard, and I can't remember what it said. Something derogatory about people that were non-vaccinated.
Oh,
yeah,
I see.
yeah, they were morons.
So she was like a counter protester of sorts.
Yeah,
God.
yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Ugh.
and you know, she probably feels quite passionate about it. Maybe she was a nurse or something, and she's right. But back home, we meet a lot of people regularly, all the time, and we were always surveying people that we know were nurses, and they're in different clinics and stuff, and a lot of them talk like there was nothing, no strain on the healthcare system, and like you'd think when you start removing people's rights that you'd have tents outside in the streets, you know, of hospital beds in tents all over, and arenas booked up full of hospital beds. But you know, to start removing people's rights, you got to get it's got to be a totally desperate situation. And I know we didn't know everything, but we got a really quick after those first 2 weeks when we were supposed to use um, we were supposed to you know, bring down the curve after 2 weeks, and yeah, so
Yeah, well,
it's hard.
that's what Brian Pecker said too. I mean, in order to justify taking away the, you know, people's rights and freedoms and getting rid
Yeah,
of the charter, the country basically has to be in peril.
yeah,
And that's sort of like the equivalent of a foreign nation coming here with their soldiers and going to war with us on our soil, and therefore declaring, you know, a state of war.
yes,
But this was not that. The
no,
nation was
and
not in peril.
that's right. And it's like, what does it take to set up emergency measures? You know, don't you have to meet in Parliament and have people talk about it and then vote on it and make a law? Isn't that the way you're supposed to do it?
Yes, and they just did an end run around all of that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been very exciting, and we are going to Ottawa next week.
Ooh.
So we're looking forward to that. It should be fun, and we'd like to see what's going on there. So yeah, maybe we'll send you a few pictures off.
That would be fantastic if you could check in with us and give us the lay of the land when you get up there. I know our viewers would really appreciate it because that is why we are here. We're trying to give people an unfiltered, uncensored look at everything going on as much as we can, because the mainstream media is obviously not doing the job that Canadians need them to do.
We need
They're
them, yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
they're twisting things, they're distorting things. It's not an accurate perspective, and we're trying to fill that gap.
Well, it looks like we went a little bit over, and I'm sorry if they're taking too much of your time.
No,
Oh,
we
no,
appreciate
it's
it.
fine.
But
I was worried we were taking your time.
no, that's good. No, yeah, I got to prepare for a Zoom call tomorrow morning.
Of course.
That's great. So thanks very much, guys.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Mark. It's been our privilege to have you on, and we really, really appreciate it.
Okay, well, thanks. I
God
guess
bless
I'm
and
not-
stay safe.
We'll catch
Thanks,
up
Ray.
with you during your travels. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
So that's the situation in Toronto today. Thank you to Mark for providing that.
And as we had found out, there's been no storm of a really bunch of yahoos upon the hospitals or anything like that.
You know, it's what the coverage, the stories previewing what was coming today by the media, the statements made by even the police chief and Toronto Mayor John Tory, and the statements coming from hospital officials, Mount Sinai Hospital, suggesting that truckers might target and harass healthcare workers, and telling the healthcare workers to go to work. If they go to work, wear plain clothes so they wouldn't be identified and possibly targeted because they're healthcare workers. It's just shameful. There's never been any talk like that from any trucker. If they have any evidence of that, I'd love to see it, because I'm certain that anybody involved with the movement, the freedom movement, would disavow it. Of course, it's just not true. The truckers don't want to attack healthcare workers. They don't want to blockade hospitals. They don't want to block access or routes for ambulances or emergency vehicles. And in fact, we've seen the entire time in Ottawa, they've been keeping the side streets open. The people there have been actually shoveling and removing snow themselves because the city hasn't been doing it in the downtown area and around Parliament Hill.
And they've been picking up the garbage and taking out the garbage and all the other city services that the city is supposed to provide.
But has not been providing in the areas where the truckers are parked and where they're protesting. So this narrative just doesn't hold water.
No, it's all garbage as far as I'm concerned. It's all against pitting people against people and the government against people. I did hear an interesting video. So we've had Greg Wycliffe on the show before. If you're not familiar with who he is, go and look him up. He makes an interesting point where he talks about there was MPs who wanted to do a hearing or a tribunal or something with GoFundMe to make sure that the money was going to be spent correctly, and the media jumped all over it, and they're all against GoFundMe, all against people who donated their money to GoFundMe to do those things. How come the media isn't doing that to the government? Isn't that what they're supposed to do? Like, Greg Wycliffe in his video points out that the Trudeau government sent $350 million to Africa for contraceptive and stuff like that. And don't you think maybe they should investigate stuff like that? Like, that's a lot of money to just throw to the wayside and be like, okay, well, look, we did a good thing with this money. It's in Africa now. But, the citizens want to pay for a protest. That we can't have that. We need to investigate that to make sure you're going to use the money properly, because you can't be trusted.
Yeah, well, the point being that the media should be holding our public officials accountable. They are supposed to act as the eyes and ears of the public. That is the job of the media. But what you're saying, and I think rightly so, is that the media has actually been holding the public accountable to the politicians. So they've got it backwards. And that's not the way it's supposed to work. And it isn't working. And that's why people are out there protesting. That's why.
I found an interesting piece here. I put it in the screen share. I think we should talk about it for just a moment. So we have heard about this from Alberta, but this is my first time seeing an article about it in Ottawa, if that makes any sense to you.
Yes.
So tow truck companies rejecting Ottawa police request for help. Local towing companies are rejecting Ottawa police requests for help towing Freedom Convoy trucks out of the downtown core, according to a senior police source. The source told CTV News Ottawa that even if police decided to tow the trucks from the downtown streets they have been clogging up for the past week, they wouldn't have enough tow trucks to do it. Police outreach to tow truck companies across the city has been rebuffed, the source said. The source further said police are considering launching a criminal investigation into whether intimidation of the tow truck companies is leading to their lack of cooperation. Oh, come on, give me a break. Could you imagine that? Dare I read on further? So it says all contingency plans are being worked on. He told CTV News Friday the city has a number of heavy industrial tow trucks as well, so there's the availability plus other companies that the city deals with on a pretty regular basis. Ottawa Police Deputy Chief Steve Bell said Friday there are within 200 to 250 trucks parked in the downtown core. Police expect another 300 to 400 truck drivers to try making their way downtown this weekend, but they are setting up roadblocks and planning to direct traffic truckers and parking spots outside of the core. So we did see that There is all kinds of parking lots all over the place in Ottawa where they have redirected the truckers, and that's kind of what's been going on with that. But I thought that was important because I've seen the documentation for it in Alberta, but I have not seen it in Ottawa until I saw that article there. So I thought that was worth mentioning. Tow trucks do not want to help.
Yeah, and that's because they don't want to go in there. They don't want to have to do the dirty work for the cops, because the cops are doing the dirty work for the politicians, and they will be towing the same guys that they would otherwise be, that they're also their clients, right?
Yeah.
And the tow truck guys are also truck drivers, and they're ordinary people, and they don't like what's going on either. So
No.
I'm not
Would-
really that surprised, and this is going to throw a bit of a monkey wrench into the plans for the police chief, who wants to go in there and start yanking those trucks. And obviously, that is the plan, because we now know that they've made those calls to those tow truck companies. We have confirmation of that. The cops are getting ready to escalate. They've told us that they're going to do that, and the police chief has laid out much of their plan, and we saw much of it implemented today, where they moved in heavy equipment barriers, cement barriers to prevent access to roads. They started blocking off bridges, causing major traffic delays, and they've even been booking up entire hotels with tax dollars to prevent people from going to Ottawa. And if they do go, they don't have a place to stay. So as a deterrent, they've been booking up hotels. We have video of that, video confirmation of it, of hotels where they're refusing to book anybody in, even though the hotel is completely empty.
I would like to say allegedly. I don't think that we could permanently state that the government has paid for all the
Well, we
hotel
haven't
rooms.
seen the receipts,
No.
but we do know that there are hotels in the area that are completely booked with no people in them. And we have eyewitnesses and people who were staying at the hotels, who have been speaking to hotel staff, who have information that they've shared, and that is the information that's coming back.
I think we should play that clip actually, and essentially something really smells with this, and it smells bad. And usually when something stinks, something's going on.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
here
bring.
do you have it?
Yeah, let me do it, because every time you do it, we lose you and we lose the footage. So
Sure.
I'll be.
And that's right, Cotton Joy. I don't understand why Justin doesn't just come out and speak with the people. And if he would just come out and talk to people, he might just be able to diffuse this whole thing and bring a peaceful resolution to this much more quickly. But
And he knows this. He told India this. Like, this is the exact same stuff he told India. He told India this when they were going through their farmers' revolt. He said, "Oh, you just need to go out there and have a dialogue with them, and then when you all talk, you can make peace together, and it'll be great." And then now India is laughing at us because they're like, "Keep your nose in your own affairs, because it doesn't appear you can even fix your own problems, right?" Okay, so I got the video here. If you want, we'll let it play.
is that the video? That's not the video.
No. Hold up.
So this is video of a person who was staying at a Marriott hotel near Parliament Hill, and this is exactly what I was talking about, and this is the confirmation that some of the confirmation that I said we have. So
Yes.
let it rip. Let's take a look at this.
If you want to let it play.
Yeah,
And,
bring up your audio, because he does speak.
Yeah.
There's no audio, Brendan.
There should be. Technical difficulties, excuse me. Wait, try this one more time. Oh, you got it?
It's okay. I've got it. Here we go.
All right. Here, can you,
live here now.
let's
and
expand
just
this
show
full
you
screen for a moment, okay?
How busy this hotel is. They canceled all bookings in the hotel, reservations that were made. They said, told friends of ours that the hotel was full. They couldn't. How you doing? Awesome.
So this is a Marriott hotel. Tens of thousands of people coming to town. It's hard to get a hotel room. This gentleman's been staying there.
Rooms in this building and many, many more. So the government paid for every room in these buildings. Look at this. Empty. Oh, there's one vehicle way over there. One up there. There might be a half dozen people in this building right now. And this is at the Marriott Hotel. Right down probably 3 blocks from the Parliament. One vehicle there.
No cars.
Ridiculous. Yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 vehicles over there. The one there that I showed earlier. Like, how corrupt is our government? And they're telling us they're booked solid. Unreal. Unreal, man. If people don't see what's going on here by now, they never will. Trudeau got to go. So yesterday when we tried to book our
So that is the
people,
Marriott.
government paying for empty rooms in empty hotels just to keep people out. Yes, Dave, boy, you got to go. Sickening. There's nobody here. I've been in and out of this hotel all day, and I might have seen 4 people. I might get the boot tonight. I'm here to show you it's true. There's nobody up here other than a few workers.
So it seems they acknowledge your right to protest. They just don't respect it. And they'll do everything they can to make sure they silence you.
Empty. So there you go.
I was thinking about
Unbelievable.
I was thinking about this video really hard today.
Yeah.
What I think, there's stuff that's happening within the past week that's going to take years to uncover from the government. Like, if the government did pay for all these hotel rooms, think about how long Information Act requests are going to take to get the actual receipts in hand. And that's not going to be an easy thing to do either, because you're going to need to do the FOIA request with the correct government department. You're going to need to do it with the correct information in there for them to even pull it for you, because otherwise they just won't. They'll throw it in the garbage and say, "Oh, we couldn't find anything like that." Like, this is gonna a whole bunch of things that happen are gonna take years to uncover, and that's gonna be interesting to see, like, what happens, and hopefully, if it does take years to uncover, it's going to happen before the next election, because that would be probably the most sinister use of taxpayer dollars ever in the past 30 years.
Well, it's clear that what we have here is a class revolution of sorts unfolding. And the government has gone to battle with a big portion of the population. They're, in a way, at war with the people. And the people they're targeting are middle class, lower middle class, working class. I mean, that's what it is. It's the working class people that they're hammering on, and they clearly don't like. It's truckers, now it's farmers. And all through this, it's been the working class that has suffered. Small business owners that have had their businesses shut down, while big box stores and big corporations are allowed to continue to function and cash in and see their profits soar, expand to unprecedented levels. Whether it's Amazon, Costco, Walmart, your restaurant shuts down, McDonald's with their drive-through stays open. It hasn't been fair. It hasn't been balanced. It has not been scientific. It's been very political from the beginning, and people are tired of it. They've had a bellyful. And now we're seeing this, where the people are finally saying enough is enough. We're fed up. We're fed up with their politicians. We're fed up with these dictatorial bureaucrats. We're not going to take it anymore. And in Ottawa, we're seeing the police ramping things up, getting ready to be confrontational, and taking measures to clear as many people out as they can and prevent people from going down there, so that they'll have an easier time when they finally do go in and decide to take a heavy hand with this. and stating not that their goal is public safety, which is what every police service should always have as their primary goal. They say their goal is to shut the protest down, which is to take a political stand. They've become political on this, and the police chief is either allowing his police service to be manipulated and used as a political tool. He's allowing his police service to be weaponized against the people, or he's doing it himself because of his own political ideology and beliefs. Either way, I think what he's doing is inappropriate, and we have people who are now calling for his resignation.
Including his own brother, I may add, his half-brother.
No, I'm talking about the police chief.
Oh, people are asking for his resignation.
Oh, yes. Let
Ooh,
me find there. Yes,
yeah.
I do have video of one such person, and he is not alone, calling for the resignation of Ottawa's police chief. This is Herbert Hildebrandt. He is with the Church of God, and he was on our show a few nights ago. Very well spoken, very intelligent, son of Henry Hildebrandt, pastor. Let's just listen to what he says. These calls are coming. He's not alone. There are other pastors, other churches, and other people calling for the resignation of Ottawa's police chief.
I'm very alarmed tonight at the escalation in the tactics and the words of the Ottawa police, especially the Ottawa police chief. The remarks we heard this afternoon were
This was
frightening
actually
for
yesterday.
any freedom-loving citizen. Quite frankly, they remind me of the Stasi in East Germany when they were floundering and flailing at their worst. To tell your officers that you will investigate and prosecute them for providing water and food to lawful, legal demonstrators is absolutely appalling and should be condemned by every citizen of this country. In fact, this should galvanize our nation to stand against this tyranny. This is exactly why people have gathered here in Ottawa, because this has to stop. Our Prime Minister is leading this nation into a hateful, divisive, totalitarian society, and this has to stop now. Mr. Police Chief, I call on you to retract those words or resign. What we're hearing from you is absolutely terrifying. I cannot imagine that the day has come in Canada where the police chief says to his officers to stop aiding and abetting the basic necessities of life to people. Not only that, he threatened those that support or attend or somehow find themselves in the vicinity of this lawful and legal protest that is completely protected by our Charter of Rights and Freedoms in Canada, which is enshrined in our Constitution. And he's threatening people like us with searching our bank records, our license plates, facial recognition. Stalin much? Is this North Korea or is this Canada? This has to stop. And this is why there's an awakening across this nation that will not stop until this sort of regime is toppled by peaceful and lawful means. But we have to have a change in government and governance now. That's why I'm in Ottawa. That's why thousands of us are here. That's why millions of Canadians support what is happening. Mainstream polling shows the shift in the narrative is swift and decisive, with well over half of Canadians already asking and in favor of all restrictions being lifted now. And that's what the demand is of the protesters here and across this country. So I would urge those in government and those in policing to find themselves on the right side of history. This is not a threat. This is simply the musings of a Canadian citizen that is very alarmed at the totalitarian, fascist thoughts of a police chief and government gone rogue.
I agree. Your mic is muted, Brendan.
I agree as well. It's very well stated. I can't believe that he did go out with those statements, and a lot of the things is what he said here is what you said last night. But I can't be more happy that more people see the things the way that we do, and that like this is not going to end well. Like we've seen it all across Canada for the past 30 years. We talked a little bit about it last night privately, but we've seen these protests, and whenever something bad happens, the government always takes things to a boiling point, and then whenever something bad happens, they retaliate. They retract really hard and go, "Oh, I'm sorry, we didn't mean to hurt anybody." Like
the thing is, Herbert Hildebrandt comes from the Church of God in Elmer.
yeah,
And you may recall that during especially the early portion of the pandemic, the church was targeted. It was that was one of the churches that kept getting charged over and over and over again, and they've paid a heavy price. And because of the hateful, divisive rhetoric that came from our politicians and was echoed and amplified by the mainstream media, demonizing the people of that church, they were dehumanized, attacked, slandered, charged, prevented from going in their church, prevented from worshiping in the way that the Charter of Rights and Freedoms guarantees everyone should be allowed to worship, and that is in their own way. And whether you agree with them or not, their rights were stripped away, and those folks have been used as a scapegoat, and it has grown from there. Now it's not just the people at the Church of God in Elmer that the government is trying to use as a scapegoat. It's expanded to the unvaccinated. And now it's expanded further to truckers, racist truckers. All truckers are now racist. And I guess it's expanded out to farmers now as well. So now you've got Christians, you have truckers, you have the unvaccinated, now you have farmers. All of these people are to blame, apparently, according to Justin Trudeau. And anybody that's down there at Parliament Hill, they're all to blame too. And yet what we're really seeing is not a pandemic of the unvaccinated. We're seeing a pandemic of the vaccinated, because pretty much everything they've told us just hasn't really been accurate, truthful, completely truthful. And as a result, the freedom that people were promised that they would get back if they just went out and got two jabs, they're not giving it to you. They're not giving it to us. So yeah, I agree with Herbert Hildebrandt and others who are shocked and appalled and feel that we need big changes. And yeah, I'm also concerned about the tone that I've heard coming from Ottawa's police chief. Shameful, inflammatory. And if things go south in Ottawa, I think that people are going to have some pretty hard questions for the chief and his senior administration.
oh, it could be career ending. What happens next? Like, I think next week we are probably going to be looking at some sort of action from the police, a forceful action. Whether or not it'll go well, that's another thing, because I mean we looked at the Coots, Alberta incident where they had sent a bunch of RCMP out to go extract people, and then they had to back off without any injuries, no arrests, or anything like that. So what's it gonna end up as? I'm not sure. The convoy organizers don't seem all that worried about the GoFundMe incident or anything like that, and I just don't think they're going to leave. I don't think that has anything to do with what's going to happen next. These people drove out there knowing that everything was on the line.
That's right, and they're on the front line because this is a battle. It is a new form of warfare. It's a peaceful war. It's been completely peaceful. The people on the freedom side want it to be peaceful. We've heard that. We've seen that. Regardless of what we're hearing and seeing from the mainstream media and the politicians who have clearly been cherry picking incidents, fabricating information, and sometimes just plain lying to smear the truckers and the protesters and now the farmers. So people know, people see what's going on. And yes, Nadine, if things go south, more and more people will stand up, and we're already seeing it. We're seeing it in Toronto, in Alberta. We're seeing it in Ontario. We saw even in small cities like Chatham, Ontario, Chatham, Kent. There was a freedom convoy today just driving through the streets, and it was huge. And we're seeing it in Windsor, Ontario, where people have gone there, and in Sarnia. And it's spread right across the country, spread to other countries. It's inspired other convoys elsewhere. So, as I said before, they can try to shut this thing down in Ottawa, but it's everywhere. The people, it's just people. The chief in Ottawa says they're well organized, well funded, as though it's like some
mafia.
Yeah, or a terrorist group or something. It's pretty darn clear that what you're dealing with here is a grassroots organic movement. Just a lot of really fed up Canadians who are just not prepared to stay locked down, masked up, and continue to take needles unless they consent. They want their freedoms back. They want that charter restored. They want the mandates lifted.
I think now would be a good time as any to play the footage from what happened in Manitoba last night.
Yes, absolutely. And this is why we need to resolve this thing as quickly as possible. This just shows why. Do you want me to cue that up, Brendan? Or do you have
cue it up.
Okay.
I don't have it. You can send it to me, though, and I'll play it. That's fine.
No, it's okay. I'll get it here. So this is footage of a protester who was run over in Winnipeg, Manitoba. And keep your eye on the sort of the middle portion of the screen. There's a white SUV, a Jeep, that is about to come through. The protester is actually to the left of the screen, and the vehicle hits him and then carries him. Here he goes. And runs him over right there. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I believe.
Here it is again in slow motion. It's just shocking. What are your thoughts, Brendan?
There's just so many things that I don't know at this point. I know that they were expecting a press conference at some point, so I was just delving into it.
Yeah, I have the media conference queued up here.
Oh, beautiful. Let's play that. I mean,
yes.
I don't know. Did this person like do that on purpose, or did they try to hit the brake and then hit the gas on accident?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's no sense in speculating because um, we don't know what we don't know. But police do have a statement on this. So as soon as I get it queued up, we'll hear what the officer has to say about that. I think you will also hear that they're a completely different tone. Winnipeg police are taking a very different approach. And before we get to that, here's a still shot of this. Okay, so that's how serious this was. Fortunately, the person who was hit is, I think he's going to be okay, is what I hear. Here's the driver of the car wearing a mask inside his own vehicle. And why he sped up, I don't know.
I thought you said we weren't going to speculate.
I said I don't know.
He's wearing a mask in his car.
Well, he is. He's wearing a He's wearing a mask in his car. You can see from the photo. That's not speculation.
I know, but
that's a fact.
Well, we all know like what those people are.
Well, they're mask wearers.
Alone in their cars.
Yeah, it's okay. If you want to wear a mask in your car, go ahead.
Alone,
that's okay. It's up to you.
It is up to you, but it says something about you if you do that. I'm just saying, like I'm not.
Yeah, yes. I don't know.
This guy was arrested pretty much like immediately, my understanding.
Yeah, so I'm just looking for that clip of of Winnipeg police. Here it is.
Hello, thank you everyone for joining us today. I'm Constable Rob Carver, Public Information Officer with the Winnipeg Police Service. Just one matter to talk about. Yesterday evening at about 9:10 p.m., Winnipeg Police were advised of a motor vehicle collision near Broadway and Memorial Boulevard. The initial information was that a westbound Jeep Patriot had driven through a group of protesters that were part of the Freedom Convoy at the Legislative Grounds. The Jeep then fled west, ultimately going down Portage Avenue, where numerous witnesses reported it traveling at high rates of speed and passing through red lights. With the assistance of the RCMP, Winnipeg Police Service officers were able to stop the vehicle in the 4800 block of Portage Avenue at approximately 10:30. The lone male driver was arrested after a brief struggle. The Jeep struck 4 adult males in total. 3 sustained minor injuries that did not require medical attention, and that's actually not quite accurate. They were treated at the scene by Winnipeg Fire Paramedic Service, and the 4th was treated in hospital and released. As a result, a 42-year-old male from Headingley, Manitoba faces charges of assault with a weapon ×4, dangerous operation of a conveyance caused bodily harm ×2, dangerous operation of a conveyance, failed to stop after accident knowing that the driving was reckless ×2, and failed to stop at the scene of an accident ×2. And he is currently in custody. We haven't named the individual yet because charges haven't been formally knowing that the driving was reckless ×2, and failed to stop at the scene of an accident ×2. And he is currently in custody. We haven't named the individual yet because charges haven't been formally sworn to, and we are obligated to not release a name until that process is complete. I guess I'll take questions.
Jen from Bloomberg News.
Hello, Jen.
Hi, I had a really difficult time hearing the audio. anyway, thanks for taking my question. I'm just wondering if you could comment on the motivation of the driver and the chief as to maybe why.
Yeah, it's always really difficult, and I'm asked this question often, to attribute a particular motivation to someone's actions. What I can tell you here is that some comments were made by the accused that tends to suggest that this was not specifically about the mandates. I don't have a lot more information, but I think that might be important for the media and the public to understand. Now, whether or not we can sort of rely on those comments is another question. And the individual was taken into custody with some resistance, so this was not someone who was compliant, and the comments were blurted out. But as I will repeat, it looks like the actions were not really as a result of the mandates.
Like it, okay, thank you. And I guess what, I don't want to use this as my phone. I guess what can you say about the tensions or the overall mood at this protest, and if the police expect more violence?
We don't. I mean, we're prepared. We're always prepared for the potential of violence in situations like this. We have officers at the scene, and we will continue to maintain WPS presence at the scene until this is over. We have been in constant touch with the organizers on scene. We are not making any changes per se in terms of our stance. I know that as of this morning, protesters on scene have moved some trucks, and that Broadway is now down to one lane in either direction. I think giving people in the area some more security, limiting traffic flow, and we've put out on Twitter that we're asking people to, if you don't have to be in the area with a vehicle, then don't. There's a lot of stuff going on. And if you are part of it or you have to be in the area, then expect some delays traveling in that area. But other than that, we're not, this was really a one-off, I believe.
Abigail from Global.
Hi there. Sorry, I can't really hear you that well. I'm just wondering if there's any thoughts or reasoning behind not just completely closing off the street so there's no issue of traffic getting involved in situations like this.
That's a really tough decision to make. First of all, there are people who want to be part of this protest and are coming to the area for that reason. And we need to facilitate their ability to peacefully protest. We also need to make sure that people can get in and out of that area and the general downtown area for either regular commutes or emergency needs. And there are people who want to come by and give support, or media are trying to get in. So we're trying to balance those needs with making it safe, but still allowing some vehicular traffic. This is an important area of Winnipeg, and while it is the weekend, it becomes heavy traffic flow during Monday to Friday during commutes. We're trying to balance all of those needs. Not only people who live in the city, but people who are trying to express their views and protest in the area.
And I'm not sure if this is too close to the motivation question, but I'm wondering if this person had planned on coming and hitting a person, or is this spur of the moment? Is it too soon to answer that?
It is too soon. We don't have that answer. And in investigations like this, I mean, unless he chooses to divulge that, we may never get an answer to that.
Jill from CBC.
Hi there. I'm wondering if you could speak a little bit further on this. When you say it's not believed to be about the mandates, is it believed that the accused was participating in the protest?
No, absolutely not. No, the accused was not participating in the protest. But some comments he made
So we have lost Rick Walker. He should be back on in a moment. Some technical difficulties. There he is. So we listened to just about. Was that most of that? Before it cut
So
out?
I'm here, Brendan. I just have to bring up the audio. Sorry, I am having some internet issues. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Yeah. So, as you can see, the tone there from Winnipeg Police is a bit different. And I'm going to bring that video back on here again because there's some things that he says that are
he was just getting to something there that I thought was really interesting. I'll wait to finish the video though before I kind of comment on it though.
And I apologize to our viewers for this internet glitch. Hang on, I've got 4 screens going on here.
Was participating in the protest?
No, he was not participating in the protest. But some comments he made after his arrest suggested that his motivation was about the underlying causes of the protest or the mandates. That's about as far as I can get. I know I'm really limited in terms of, we don't really go into people's motivation. I think it's important here to give some context that he wasn't really for or against either of us that are sort of floating around this country. Other than that, I can't give you a lot.
Have you encountered any other violence or incidents similar in nature?
And I can tell you that we are in very regular contact with protesters and the organizers, and everyone is being incredibly cooperative, and we've had, other than this this particular one, luckily no one was seriously hurt.
We lost the video.
And we'd like to thank everybody involved for their continued cooperation. It has really made the police job much easier and made it easier on the citizens of Winnipeg.
Rob, can you speak to whether any kind of effort made to, much like a construction zone, to set up something to slow the traffic down, or has that been considered by the police?
We haven't made
So I think that gives you a sense of what happened there with that person who was run over in Winnipeg. And also, very important, you note the tone.
You want to know what I noted out of that?
You know,
There's something very interesting. We're not going to tell you his motivation. We may never know his motivation ever.
Right.
But he definitely wasn't there for the protest. You see what I mean? Some comments that he made. Well, what comments did he make? This is smelling a hell of a lot like when that person ran over a bunch of people at a Christmas parade in Wisconsin, and then, an SUV ran wild and killed people. It gives me the same kind of vibes from what I can kind of see. But it's very suspicious that they knew he definitely wasn't there to attend the protest, but And of course, I'm only speculating, so that's.
Well, it seems, yeah, yeah. Again, we just don't know what we don't know. And these days, media, politicians, politicized police services are often too quick to draw or jump to conclusions that they then share with the public. And to the credit of the media information officer, who was conducting that news conference, I think that the information he conveyed was entirely appropriate. I don't think that he had an agenda or has an agenda. No. I think that the Winnipeg police are handling the protests down there in a very professional, a very appropriate way. I think that they not only acknowledge people's right to protest, people's right to protest, and they facilitate the right to protest, and they're doing their job properly. That is not what we're hearing or seeing in Ottawa, where police have taken a completely different approach, which is to not just keep people safe, but their goal is to shut the protest down. Which, if it's something that is putting the public at risk, if it is truly a danger to people, but we've really seen no evidence of that. We've seen fabricated stories. We've seen smear tactics, but we've seen no real evidence to the contrary. All we've seen is peaceful dance parties, street hockey, bouncy castles for kids, a festival type atmosphere,
barbecue, food,
a few minor inventory, which you would get even at a fall fair. To be fair, at any concert or acting tens of thousands of people. And yet even there, the people have really been policing themselves, cleaning up the place, collecting garbage, shoveling snow, keeping emergency lanes open. So I'm sorry, I still have a problem with the tone, and I'm very concerned about what is about possibly to come, based on it seems apparent strict access to hotels by preventing people from booking hotels. It's they've stated what their intentions are and their plan. We block off access. They've been blocking off roads, blocking off bridges, preventing more protesters from coming down to Parliament Hill and into the downtown. And they've stated what their goal is, which is to shut it down. And how are you going to do that? Well, they've tried to get tow truck operators to come down there, and they're not. Apparently, many of the tow truck drivers are refusing to cooperate. So I think we can expect to see some escalation unless somebody like Justin Trudeau does something, does the responsible thing, comes down there and talking to some people to try to diffuse this thing before we see something else like what happened in Winnipeg happen again. It doesn't have to happen.
Yeah, you're right. The Manitoba one was very professional. They're not going to leak the comments that the driver who had assaulted those people with his vehicle. They're not going to. It's not typical. And it's not typical of police to release those comments anyway. So we're not going to find out till 3-4 months till it hits its court date. Like, that's typical, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, once he's arraigned in court, his the name of the person involved. At which point, if reporters, especially the local reporters there, do their jobs properly, we should get more information about who this person was, who the person is, might explain some things as well. So the information will come out over
Yeah, it will.
time, and we'll learn and it will go through the natural process.
I'm sure even just scrolling his social media would tell you the answer to it, no problem. Once they release a name, and you know, it
well,
could.
I would guess, but for now, we just hope that people stay safe out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Be aware of your surroundings and stay out of anything that may look dangerous. Just not worth hurting yourself over or injuring yourself over. Like, I did receive
things out in. Yeah, we've seen. Yeah, your internet, Brendan, your internet is cutting in and out. You're spotty. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up some video from Alberta, and maybe you can log out, log back in, and I think that might help stabilize your internet connection. Can we do that?
I'll do that. Carla is expected in any minute now. I thought it was you. It was you who's cutting out. All right, I'll be right back.
Yeah. So this is footage from Alberta, where I guess reinforcements were coming in to the Alberta Coots, a demonstration there where the demonstration on the border has been continuing. I just need to find the correct clip here for you folks and make sure that I'm running the right thing for you. It's right here, and let's take a look at this.
Whoa.
So I guess we have people on horses. Looks like the cavalry is coming.
Don't know how we're getting home, Norm, but yes, we are loading the mule. That or he can stay here attached to one of the trucks. I do. I'm live right now. So we can always snap some screenshots of this. I'm in the front, so I can try to get. It's like I'm out in the middle.
A lot of horses, a lot of people on
I'm
horses.
more in the front. Okay, so let's get the story on this flag. No. Send in the cavalry.
And this is in Alberta, and these people are making their way to protest the Alberta Coots, Alberta Montana Park. Flying the Canadian flag, another display of Canadian patriotism.
How many signatures you got on that, Norm? And then, okay, when was the first signature? Wow, so you've been traveling around this whole time with that flag, speaking freedom since 2019. So this is not like your first time showing up. literally not your first rodeo. Old Glory, there she is. So if you ever hear about the old flag, Old Glory, you've seen it yourself, guys. Check it out. So I'm kind of in the front. We're mostly in the front. We got a lot. Okay, so help me out, guys. Where are you watching from?
We're seeing convoys of all kinds forming across the country.
I see USA, of course. Where's everybody from? Help me out.
Trucks. Tractors.
Tell me where you're from, y'all. Because I don't know how long these
people on horseback.
I don't know how long they're gonna last, my battery, and I don't know how long
People
we're
in cars.
for.
And Brendan is back.
My apologies.
Oh shit, hi.
I did a system reboot. Hopefully things are much better. And look at that.
Thank you, Dave. What's up, guys?
And apparently,
how's everybody doing?
getting word that
the scoop is my horse of all
cops
these
have
horses.
taken steps
Right here.
to
Wouldn't
break
load
things
at
up
meat
in
point
Toronto.
because we got out to ride. Oh, hey, Melanie. Where are we? We are at Coots. Well, not Coots Border specifically, but we are
So
at
we
the
will
first barricade just out of Milk River.
See if we can find out what's going on.
Are you
that
are you
front
tuning
for
in
you.
from Ottawa right now? Hi, Dallin. What's up? What's your question?
And Carla will be joining us very shortly from Ottawa live to give us her recap of
I think there's
today,
enough cowboys here. We should get this
telling us
pony
what
loaded
she
into
has
something.
seen
Huh?
there. She's our eyes and ears on the ground, and
Which mountain is
share her
that? Do you
thoughts
guys know?
and talk to us
Over
about what she
there.
thinks might be
You know
happening
what?
there
Well,
tomorrow
like
and getting into
Sweetgrass Hills, so it's not really a
next
mountain.
week as well.
No. Oh, so half is Canada.
So we will be
Oh, wow,
without
so we're that
Carla
close
in
to the border.
Ottawa until
Sweet.
Tuesday after
How are you?
tonight.
So, who are you covering for? Just yourself? Do you have a blog or something that you're putting this on? Oh, okay.
So I'm just going to
collecting yourself.
dump out of this, Brendan, and just give me some thoughts there on that. I'm going to just do a quick search here and see if I can find out what exactly is going on in Toronto right at this moment.
I have an image. It looks pretty around 7 p.m. Police began to disperse remaining protesters and trucks at the Bloor Street Avenue. So I do have an article up here right now about that. Be more than happy to share it. So if you bring up my screen share.
So I'm just going to let you kind of take the lead here, Brendan, because I'm having some more serious internet problems, and I'm just going to fix those, and I'll be right back with you. Okay?
Okay. Can you put up my screen that I've just shared before you do that?
I sure can.
Okay. Beautiful.
There you
Okay.
go.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll take the reins here with the. Here is the recent
Yep, I will
image.
be back momentarily.
Yep. So this image is from about an hour and a half ago. We have a number of dump trucks. We had seen some of those dump trucks with Mark Henry Provencher, who we had shared a bunch of his photos and video from earlier in Toronto. What we were taking a look at here, it says here, widespread traffic delays in the downtown area were also reported Saturday as a result of the protests and number of road closures. It is not known when roads will reopen. We're assessing things as we go, and we'll certainly look to open up things when it's safe to do so, Progue said. She added, there have been no issues reported at Hospital Row. Oh, geez, that whole thing again. Saying hospital workers, patients, and others trying to access the facilities have been able to do so. Toronto Mayor John Tory released a statement late Saturday afternoon and said he is thankful the protesters have been peaceful and kept away from downtown hospital. Once again, I do need to point out, none of the goals of any of this has been an attack on hospitals. Nobody is looking to attack hospitals. It is absolutely a ridiculous notion that they brought that up or that was even hypothesized. Continuing on here, John Tory had said, I want to thank all residents, businesses, healthcare institutions, and emergency services for their ongoing patience dealing with the traffic and noise disruptions created by the protest, Tory said. Around 7 p.m., police began to disperse remaining protesters and trucks at the Bloor and Avenue intersection. And so there's the image. Looks like here, this is where the police line is. And then you have all this traffic, all the protesters in here. Ahead of the protests, the Ontario Trucking Association released a statement saying they do not support and disapprove protests on public roadways, highways, and bridges. Since when did the Ontario Trucking Association or the Canadian Trucking Association have any polls in anything that we do? Like, it's an absolute ridiculous notion. We've talked to a truck driver on this podcast in the past week, and he says that the Canadian Trucking Association does not represent him. It does not represent a lot of truckers. So it kind of baffles my mind that the media kind of goes to them for being the spokesperson for truckers in general. So it says, well, some Canadians are at Queen's Park today to voice their displeasure over this mandate. It appears that most protesters have no connection to the trucking industry and have separate grievances beyond cross-border vaccine requirements. Of course, because the trucking mandate and everything else with that, the trucker protest in Ottawa is shifted from being about cross-border mandates to being about all the mandates. The Coutts, Alberta border crossing is totally, they want to wipe out all the mandates in general. So it is much bigger than what the media wants to think it's worth. As these protests unfold, the OTA asks the public to be aware of that many of the people you see and hear in the media reports do not have connection with the trucking industry and do not represent the view of Ontario Trucking Association. Oh, gee. City officials and police learned about the planned protest earlier this week, prompting them to prepare for similar disruptions. So that's about what I'm having there. I'm going to have to try and see if I can find something more valid. As to what type of action the police there are taking. So we had seen earlier millions and millions of people at the Toronto protests there today. Well, I don't know about millions, but I would say thousands and thousands of people there. And only one person was arrested as of 5 hours ago, which I would say is a pretty good indication of what's going on with that. So it looks like that's the only image that I'm finding available on here. The CP-24 with an aerial shot with police encroaching in. So it looks like they have made attempts to block the road off entirely. Oh, I did find some footage. Let's see if we can bring that up here.
Life can change in a snap. No one plans to get into an accident.
And now you don't know how to pay your bills or what to do.
Who's on your side?
Sorry about the ad, folks. Here we go. We have some evening footage
of this intersection. So again, police have created a circle all around this intersection, Bloor at Avenue Road, and they're helping these truck drivers essentially maneuver out of this intersection as well and be on their way. Still very peaceful. I'm not seeing any kind of violence or any kind of confrontations happening at all. I'm seeing some discussions happening between Toronto police officers and some of these demonstrators who have been here for hours, essentially telling them that it's time to go. And we heard Chief James Raymer say in the last couple of days this would not become an encampment or an occupation situation like we've seen in the nation's capital. So at this point, it seems like things are under control. The situation is peacefully resolving itself. And by resolving itself, I mean that some of this heavy machinery and protesters are starting to clear this area. As you mentioned, Toronto police bringing in a couple of dump trucks belonging to the city of Toronto as well to help block this intersection off. Because you'll remember earlier on, demonstrators were walking north and south from Bloor to Queen's Park Circle.
There you have it, folks. It doesn't look like there's anything that is too dangerous going on there. It looks like people are in general complying and they're leaving the scene. So I think that is all good. It doesn't look like the intention of the Toronto protest was to ever occupy anything or to hold or to stand their ground there, but it was more of a show of solidarity for the events happening in Ottawa. Were you able to see any of that, Rick Walker?
Yeah, I was watching that. I've been watching that, Brendan. Yes.
Oh, we got two Rick Walkers.
Yes. And I'm trying to get myself back online here as a single me. And I'm going to remove that.
Yeah, so apologies. I mean, I didn't want to play MSM too long there, but it looks like that brief little moment there of what's happening there right now is pretty accurate. I would. I mean, there's hardly anything to spectate about us. Hardly anything that you could kind of commentate on it, other than it looks like they're going home, and that's all's well with that.
Yeah, so I think that's what's happened down there in Toronto today. The point being, though, that they had a sizable crowd, and that's backing up what's going on in Ottawa. But the situation out in Alberta has been entirely different, and I've been hearing things about possible other actions at other border points in Canada in the days ahead. So I think, again, you might see escalation on both sides.
It's only a matter of time. So, let's see. I'm just going to check in with Carla here for a moment and see what her ETA is.
So Carla is a nurse who lost her job because of the vaccine mandates and her decision. And she has been in Ottawa. She has been our eyes and ears on the ground there. And she has been coming in nightly, giving us recaps of everything that she has seen through the days and sharing videos that she has been shooting on site at Parliament Hill. And I do apologize for all the technical difficulties that we've had tonight. we're kind of doing our best with intermittent internet connections on our devices and at our different locations. But we're getting through this, and we do have still some very important video to share with you. And I know that Carla will have a lot of important things to share with us tonight because she will have been speaking with truckers and organizers and people at the scene, and she'll have a pretty good handle on what we're likely to see tomorrow and into next week. And that's really what I'm concerned about. I also have some live footage from Ottawa right now. Let me just bring that up.
I have breaking news here. It looks like Pierre Poilievre has thrown his hat in for the leadership race of the Conservative Party.
Mm-hmm.
As of an hour ago. So it's very interesting compared to the last race that he had where he had backed down due to family means. So,
or for whatever the reasons were, it really wasn't entirely clear at the time what the reasons for him deciding not to pursue it were, but he seems to be one of the top contenders and seems to be popular among conservatives.
Yes.
And he seems to be more of a conservative than Aaron O'Toole or Andrew Scheer have been, and he's been down to meet with protesters and has expressed some support for truckers through this as well. And so as you can see, lots of trucks still parked in and around Parliament Hill and in the downtown area in Ottawa tonight as the standoff continues. Now many of these guys there for over a week, and the standoff, who knows when it might end.
All right, I just resent Carla the link. She should be in any moment now.
Excellent.
USA. You know, I find it very ironic how all of this has panned out right when we're having the Winter Olympics in China. And usually Olympics is something that Canadians get together over, and it has had a uniting factor in the past. But what we have with the Ottawa Convoy 2022 has united the country in more ways than any Olympics I've ever seen. And I think that Olympic coverage this year is going to go to an all-time low compared to other years, I would say.
I don't know what we're looking at here, but it looks like somebody was on a stretcher with an ambulance or something there. Is that what that was that we saw a moment ago?
Can you reverse it?
No, I can't. This is live, and I can't. I guess it can't have been anything too serious, or
yeah, they would still be filming.
They would have stopped back there. And lots of kids down there today, families, people coming down. It really, for a lot of people, this has been like a rally, a festival, a celebration, and a way to express pride in being a Canadian in a way that we haven't seen in a long time. And as Carla has pointed out, there's just been an outpouring of positivity really throughout the so-called protest area. And I think the cops are calling it the red zone. But yeah, I this is what you're seeing down there. Unedited, unfiltered, uncensored. Carla is on her way. She's just running a little bit behind. She's been pretty busy down there today. They've sort of had their own sporting event down there. They've got street hockey games going on, and they're playing for something they're calling the Unity Cup. And I guess that's been a highlight for a lot of people at the Ottawa protest. That's the fun, the festival side of it, but there is a much more serious side, and that's these demands where the truckers are saying they want Justin Trudeau and the government to resign or get rid of all the mandates. And Justin Trudeau just not coming out to talk to anybody, kind of slinking away, hiding, not there. Sort of, I guess he said that, what was it? They were afraid for his safety, so they got him out of there.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Well, first off, he contracted COVID, and then he violated public health measures by getting into a helicopter and running away from the protesters. Like, am I not right? Like, in Ontario, if you have COVID, you have to, like, stay home.
I think those are the rules that they made.
So it's okay for Justin Trudeau to run away in a helicopter, but
it's not the first time he violated the health rules. You may recall that there was a lockdown and you weren't supposed to cross borders. You weren't supposed to go to, like, your cottage. And what did he do? He went to his cottage to celebrate Easter with his family. And that was a violation of health rules. But when it comes to Justin Trudeau, I guess the rules just don't apply. Different rules for different classes of people.
that's exactly it. Like, you really see, like, I heard somebody call all this COVID stuff today, like, the greatest class divide we've ever seen. And that's true.
Yeah.
It's always been rules for thee and not for me.
That's right.
Oh, we are joined now by Carla Olson.
Is she coming up on the screen? I punched her up, but let's bring her out, take her out, and put her back in. Her shot's not coming up. I can see her in the preview window, but she's not coming up on screen. There she is.
Oh, Carla!
Hey,
guys. Yeah, it was a little glitchy for a minute there, guys. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
All right, good. I used my AirPods. I don't
So?
know. Whole new world.
So you're live downtown
Anyway.
Ottawa right now.
You betcha.
Where exactly
I don't
are
know
you?
if I can. Right now, I'm at the corner of Bank Street and Slater, so I'm just walking away from my hotel. I'm going to head up towards Wellington Street, see what's going on up there.
Okay.
So, we had a conversation earlier today regarding the Marriott Hotel.
Yeah, I never got there. Sorry.
Never got there.
I didn't, but I've been seeing more and more TikToks about this kind of thing. I've been talking to people, like back home and in different areas, and some people said that their hotels were canceled, but they're pretty sure that they weren't really canceled. They're just trying to keep the people down. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, that's something there that I definitely would speculate on, because, like, why would somebody lie about that?
Well, I know my hotel is booked, like, it's solid. I've never seen so many people in the whole 9 days I've been here. This many people in the hotel, just in the lobbies, like we're waiting to get up the elevators, things like that. The crowd is unbelievable. So many people.
And we still hear a lot of horns there. It's loud.
It's so loud here. I don't hear them as much because I have my earpods in, right? So I can hear you guys. But yeah, it's pretty loud. Can you hear me still okay?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
sometimes the horns are a little overwhelming, but we'll make it through it.
Oh, I've had nothing but technical problems. So I was so excited. I asked my husband to bring me a mic. He let my daughter's boyfriend, who works at I don't know Best Buy, get me an external mic. Told him what kind of phone I had. He gave me a phone gave me a mic for an Android. I have an iPhone, so I still don't have a mic. I'm gonna settle that when I go home.
Are there counter protesters there, or have there been counter protesters?
All day I was looking for the counter protesters, and I didn't see any. Like I said, I did see 2 yesterday, and they were really not a problem at all. But I didn't see any. They said they were going to be right in front of Parliament building, but they weren't there. I haven't seen a single one, unless there's so few that they're blending in with the crowd. I haven't heard of any agitators either, so not yet.
And so everything's still today very peaceful?
Yeah, the police still look pretty calm. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I think the police chief needs to come down and take a look for himself, to be honest.
You know, that's the second time I've heard that during this podcast. That's a pretty good.
Well, has he been down here? I mean, has he? Has he seen it with his own 2 eyes?
I don't think so.
I don't believe he has either. Guys, I had a revelation today.
Ooh,
it's minor,
do share.
but okay. So when I was, walking up to Wellington Street this morning, I was thinking about all of the things that the media is saying, all of how we're violent, how we're destroying the city, yada, yada, yada. Well, what happened was I started to think the number one thing that they could have done is they could have said that this is a super spreader. They haven't said that at all, because that narrative's crumbled, right? That would have been, you would have thought the first thing, they would have started talking about how many people are going to get COVID, what a super spreading event this is going to be with all these people.
Look, you
not
got
one
people.
word of that. Everybody wants to say hi.
Yeah, I know.
Everybody's behind you.
Bring them in. I'm just making sure you're aware they're there.
I know. I can see them.
Okay.
I can see them. I'm waving at people.
But yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right though. I thought that early on too. I thought they would be, talking about how the dirty unvaccinated and vaccinated, whatever, blah blah blah. So, no masks.
Not a word. Not one word about that.
Yeah.
So what does that tell you about that whole narrative, right? I don't know. I know that's a tiny little revelation, but it was pretty big for me.
it is good, because I always thought the super spreader thing was hilarious. But I think that narrative. I think that narrative what got thrown in the garbage in the last election, so that Justin Trudeau could mingle with people and run a campaign.
Exactly. It's just done. That's done. Anybody see that Poliver is? He put a little video out saying he's going to run as the lead. He's going to run for prime minister.
Yeah, we just talked about that. So we didn't play the video on here, but I did make the announcement he's going to run for leadership of the provincial or the Conservatives. So that is
CPC, Conservative Party of Canada. But don't forget, those Conservatives sat and did nothing for 2 years. And let those Liberals do all these terrible things.
They sure did. I'm still PPC all the way. Don't get me wrong. I was a Conservative for all of my adult life until the Conservatives decided to sit. Now it's PPC, but yeah, I'm gonna waste away anyway. But yeah, so guys, I'm just adjusting gloves. This is a little more complicated because now I got earbuds in, I've got gloves on. I don't have my glove man, which is my husband. He's sleeping so he can drive me home.
Yeah. So the protest in Toronto has sort of broken up. It's breaking up now. Everything's kind of coming to an end in Toronto. Huge crowd there today, but they're not occupying, if you want to use that word, or staging anything overnight, it doesn't look like. But the story is still the same in Ottawa. The truckers are dug in and hunkering down.
Oh, yeah. They're hunkering down. Like today, I got some great footage. I just got a really good look at the amount of food and supplies that have been donated. Talking to the people who are handing out this food and supplies, they said they have so much, they don't really know how they're ever going to get rid of it all. They said they have enough to stay here for months.
It was a kind of a carnival spirit today. I don't know if you saw any of my footage, but they've got jumping castles. They had axe throwing. Yeah. At the end of that video, my phone actually froze. It was that cold. So that just cut it off. Yeah. And I was equally frozen. So.
An interesting point here. So somebody mentioned in the comments that there was about 100 counter protesters. And if I recall, the police chief yesterday was saying there was going to be 1,000 counter protesters.
Yeah, did they say where they were?
No.
No, they didn't make
I don't
mention
think
of
you
that.
could find them in the crowd. There's a little party going on.
There we go.
Yeah, we haven't had, like, any of the nights that I've been here, this area hasn't been congested like this. Hey, so it's pretty crazy. Can you guys see okay? Because I'm winging it because I can't really.
Everything's fine.
Camera.
We can see and we can hear you really well, actually.
I think most people would rather see this than see my mug up there fussing with my earpods. Yeah, like look at this. There's an axe throwing over here. Pretty great. They have hay, so we have seating now. I mean, we really kind of are occupying. I'm not going to really completely deny that.
Well, that's what the protest is.
Yeah.
You're hanging
Occupy
out there
Ottawa.
till you get what we want. What all Canadians seem to want, which is an end to all the mandates. Get the freedom back, right?
And how many news organizations were in celebration of Occupy Wall Street, if I can remember correctly?
Yeah.
Like all of them. But this one, it's an occupation. This is illegal. Look at that. Can't do that. Yeah, it is adorable.
Yeah, I know that they just, I don't know. Well, we're occupying Ottawa, guys.
Yeah. Are people worried about possible police intervention there? Or, I mean, people have talked about the military coming in, but it doesn't seem like that's, going to happen. But it is clear that police have an objective of bringing this thing to an end. Are people worried about the way that might happen?
People aren't worried. I don't see it. Do these look like worried people that are afraid the police are gonna? No one's worried. I think everyone's living for the moment. I'm sure in the back of everyone's head, they feel like, at any moment this thing could turn into something. But for 2 years we've been all stuck, knowing, feeling pretty dreadful, and now we're just living in the moment. We're feeling free. Everybody's just going with it.
When I look at that, what you're showing us, the idea that the cops are going to go down there with bulletproof vests and guns or riot gear or whatever they're going to do and start busting things up. And then I have images in my head of these cops dressed up in their riot gear chasing toddlers around through ball pits, and they can't catch them, right? Because they're just too fast.
Armed with thumbtacks to pop their balloons.
Yeah, I just that's what comes into my head. It just seems comical, but I guess there is a much more serious side to this, and we have to be mindful of that because I know what the police chief said.
Yeah, but even speaking with the police, obviously I can't capture them on video, right? They're not willing to do that. They can't. And even just the tone with the police haven't changed at all. They're still smiling. They're smiling into the mask. They're having fun. And they said that, they think it's kind of a great thing. They love that they're seeing the unity and the peacefulness of it. So I'm not really sure where the police chief is getting his info, unless there's a handful of cops that think differently, and I just haven't run into them. Nothing but polite people high-fiving the cops when they go by them, socializing with them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get it either. I guess the police chief sees this in a different way. Yesterday, he compared this to the January 6th incident in Washington. He said that they had actually prevented a repeat of that here in Ottawa. He said that they had arrested one trucker who was on his way to the event and confiscated a firearm. He said that they wouldn't tolerate any officers bringing food, water, or fuel to the truckers.
Well, they don't need
or facilitating the delivery of it.
Yeah.
He said their goal is to bring it to an end. And he said that he himself had received death threats.
Well, that doesn't surprise me, that part.
It doesn't?
No.
I don't know.
Well,
with this crowd, I kind of disagree with that. That does surprise me.
No, this is a polarizing thing, and it's international. This is the first time Canada has ever had. Well, the first time in my lifetime that Canada has had such an international display of things. So the fact that this person who's taking a very polarizing position is getting death threats, like, this happens to politicians all the time. And he's being a politician by siding with politicians. It's not his job to do that.
Do you have any other thoughts on that, Carla?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I just can't, I honestly, like, look at these people. Do they look like they care what the police are saying?
No.
Like, hey.
You know, in a way, it's like everybody's down there demanding an end to the mandates and they want their freedom back. But I get the feeling it's almost like the people are just telling the politicians, we're taking our freedom back.
People are calling themselves free now. Naming it
Yeah.
and taking it, man. You know?
Yeah.
See, nothing but the love down here.
Yes. And flags just everywhere, still
Everywhere.
today.
Oh, yeah.
But for me, no surprise to see exactly what we're seeing down there tonight. No surprise what we saw today, because I don't think police would ever go down there in the middle of this with families and kids and this carnival type atmosphere and start trying to bring this thing to an end and start taking a heavier approach to this, because they don't want anyone hurt either, right? So if they're gonna target certain people and go in and start to try to tow rigs out of there and create a situation that might possibly be volatile, I think they'll want to do it when there's the least amount of risk to the public.
Fair.
So
You brought up a good point. It's probably, it's great that people brought their kids. One, it tells the public that it's not scary. Are you actually going to bring your kids into a terroristic event?
Right.
I think that's a valid point. It's going to maybe keep the police from coming in here and picking up a fast and obviously kids here. Kids might save the day.
Yeah, and those horns are so loud.
Oh, are they ever?
Now, yeah.
I know. And the closer I get to the square, it gets bad. We'll just all hang there for a second, and I'll move away from it. I'll just walk through it for you guys.
And I know police blocked off bridges and roads. Did you see a lot more blockades? Did you see a lot more? Yeah.
Yeah, like down the side streets when they came to main intersections, they're blockades that they've been pulling in, even on Wellington Street. I think we passed one. I actually should have pointed it out to you. Yeah, they've been doing that all day and yesterday. They say they're doing it to protect and preserve that emergency lane. Eh?
And so
check this out. It's like a little campground. They have a community.
Yeah.
Warming tents. And nice fishing pants. Some people are sleeping in them too, right?
But I think nobody really wants to be there sleeping in the cold.
No.
Everybody would rather be home.
I'd rather be in my own bed playing with, hugging my dog,
Yeah, yeah.
And I have a hotel room.
And still about 250 trucks in the area is what we're told by the authorities.
Yeah, and people need to realize that, just on Wellington Street, those are kind of, that's the minority of trucks. The majority are all hanging out in all the side streets. Like, as you know, last night I found I found a whole, a whole street full of chaos.
I did see a report where about six kilometers away from Wellington Street, they have them filled into parking lots and stuff like that.
Right. And outside of the city, they're also in parking lots.
I think it would.
With the more barriers in place, and are you seeing more police from like other jurisdictions there? They said they were bringing in a lot more cops. Are you seeing that?
Today I did see Sudbury Police, Kingston Police, which I hadn't seen before, and then an influx of OPP.
Right.
I mean, that only stands to reason that they're going to bring in more police, right? Because we've got, an influx of people. That would just be a wise decision.
And of course, we really don't know how police would go in there and take action. I mean, I have my own thoughts on how they would do it, but right now everything seems stable, so it doesn't look like anything's about to happen.
No,
at least not tonight.
Someone told me the Canadian said it's just a big drunk fest that night. Did these people look drunk to you?
No.
Right?
Have you seen any evidence of that?
I've seen that person, smoking container walking around, but nobody's drunk and obnoxious. I mean, I've seen way worse at Queen of the Day or any
I said to
other
myself, if I had one chance to say something,
right?
I would say thanks to every single person outside of Canada
And
supporting our cause.
what about speeches and things like that? Is that what was going on down there today too, or?
Sorry, we got a horn.
Yeah, really bad audio. Really bad audio.
There we go.
That's
there we
better.
go. Yeah, sorry about that. It was.
Yeah, that happens. Every time I try to interview someone, then a horn goes, so I try to do it away from crowds. I'm going to go up here on the hill. It's a little bit quiet
Beautiful.
Here. Anyway, yeah, so on the stage, there's been speeches. We've had live music today. I think Chris Guy spoke today while I was sleeping. And from what I watched on his speech, he was just gracious, and he was, sticking with the energy that was here. So made me really happy.
Yeah.
What do I have over here? Remember I was talking about how the Eternal Flame, how they turned it off last Friday?
Yeah, what's this?
That's what I'm trying to find out. Are they making their own flame? Huh.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Looks like they're religious candles.
What an amazing idea.
Right? Like a vigil. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
The
You guys see
eternal
them?
flame has been relit by the people.
Yeah.
What an incredibly strong and symbolic thing. That's incredible.
Every step I take, throughout this, I'll find something really unique and symbolic like this. And this is beautiful. This is absolutely beautiful. I'm kind of curious what those ones are. Like, I know that these, they're Catholic, but I don't know what the others are.
Do you think this is as historic? I mean, this is history being made, right? People will remember this
forever. This is absolutely history. Look at that, beautiful. Bunch of drunken terrorists.
So right now we have an event here that could be remembered either as something incredibly positive that results in a very constructive and positive outcome, or if it's handled badly, it could turn into one of the greatest Canadian tragedies in history. So
yeah.
I guess we're crossing our fingers and hoping that things stay the way they are.
Well, with the level of emotion here, although it's positive emotion, emotion's a powerful thing. You're right. It could end up. It's such a fine line. So, and I believe that's why people are just choosing to stay in the moment of everything that is good. I did talk to someone today, and he said to me, he said, if this whole thing blows up and it ends up terrible and I die while I'm here, it doesn't matter because I wasn't living until this. That was powerful.
Are people there aware of the person who was run over in Winnipeg, the protester who was run over by the Jeep?
I asked a couple people, they didn't have any real information on it. They just said just what I've been seeing on.
Yeah, we did run the news conference with the media information officer from Winnipeg. I just wondered if people were even aware.
Oh yeah, the organizers are aware, I think. The volunteers that I spoke to were aware. It's hard to get to the organizers. Like, I've been wanting to get an interview with them, and it's pretty tough to get to them. They're pretty busy, right?
Yeah, they are.
And is the mood because of the is the mood because of the GoFundMe thing changed at all? It seems like it was like a really tense thing, and it was going to be bad, but it's like it's turned right around again, and it looks like
And that's not the first time. Remember the rumors before we even got to Ottawa? There was talk that they weren't going to release the funds. They had to bring in their legal counsel on that to sort that out. This is the second time they've had to sort it out.
So the money's all being refunded, and they're already generating a lot of donations through the what's the name of the thing again?
No, I knew you were going to ask me. I had it written down, and I don't have it with me.
Give, send, go. Give, send, go.
Yeah, give, send, go.
I haven't been able to find the link for it, but
yeah, I Googled it and I found the link, but strangely, every time I clicked on it through the day, it went to a bad page, almost like it was being blocked. So that was a little weird.
Yeah, it wasn't interesting the way that GoFundMe quickly changed their tune and said they're just going to automatically refund us, rather than send it to a charity if we didn't claim it. I think they were kind of onto us about what we were planning to do to make them get a chargeback from the bank. Well, I really think GoFundMe has made a really poor decision on this whole thing.
Oh, big time. Even I think Ron DeSantis is going to be investigating them for fraud, actually, the governor of Florida.
Yeah.
And the irony in that is that you have a jurisdiction like Florida launching an investigation into GoFundMe, which I think is really caving into pressure from Canadian authorities who are accusing protesters of actions that may or may not be true and certainly have not been proven in court or in any other fashion. So it's a very weird situation where authorities over here in one jurisdiction are wondering if what's going on is even lawful, and that's because of actions by our police and politicians.
Well, yeah, and what is shady to put like on GoFundMe with the general public? Like, no one, not a person here who's been affected by this is ever going to even donate. I mean, myself personally, I'll never donate to GoFundMe again. I'll never support that. Right? Yeah.
So I have here from Ron DeSantis. It is fraud for at GoFundMe to commandeer $9 million in donations sent to truckers and give it to causes of their own choosing. I will work with the Attorney General Ashley Moody to investigate these deceptive practices. These donors should be given a refund, and they started getting refunds right after that.
I appreciate it. I've been watching my email. I donated to them, and I've been watching to see when I get it back. I kind of wondered. I mean, the cash wouldn't be doable. I heard a few people talking to me. It's like, what if we all just gave them, went to the organizers and every single person who's done it to pay them cash? Well, that's a problem. That's a lot of cash to hold on to. I understand the intention, but that's a lot of cash.
$10 million.
Imagine what does that even
$9 million,
like?
right?
What does that even look like?
Well, we could all bet money that they don't just sit on that money. That money gets interest. Like,
oh yeah,
that's one of the ways
I think
they make
GoFundMe's already made. they made some money already.
$10 million in interest, that's thousands of dollars, like each day.
Yeah, each day.
Yes.
So I don't know, guys. Here we are, day 9. It's looking
Yeah.
pretty good, right? What do you think? What do you think? You had a little
Well,
walk around.
I don't know. What do you think, Brendan?
Well, I think by next week we're gonna start seeing. So the police promised to start enforcing a bunch of stuff this weekend, but doesn't look like it happened. Next week, I think we're going to see, once everybody goes home after the weekend, we're going to see trouble. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave it at that at this point. I don't want to speculate or throw any negativity at it, but with the way things are brewing up, we'll have to wait and see. It's still the great Canadian standoff. Who will blink first, Justin Trudeau or the Ottawa Trucking Convoy?
Yeah.
Yeah, and not just Ottawa, but convoys elsewhere. And we're seeing, we're hearing that there could be other actions taken at other border points across the country and maybe even in other major cities. So everything is, next week will be, I think tomorrow is status quo, and maybe Sunday night and after, that's when we really have to start to look for developments, because
I'll bet Tuesday, Wednesday, there might be more stress involved, but I'm not going to say any more than that because it's just speculation at this point. It's just my feelings. I hope I'm wrong.
Right. Well, I also
and more
think,
fireworks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess, anything you want to add, Carla, or think that we might have been missing tonight?
Nope, I just wanted to add to, just agreeing with Brendan that I think that by the middle of the week when the crowd is thin, maybe hopefully, they'll bring the people back.
I'm sorry, Carla, we can't hear you.
Sorry.
I can't hear you at all.
Pretty loud. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I just feel like, that when the crowd is, that might be when we see them starting to turn it down more.
No, can't hear you at all.
Yeah.
I know, it's really loud up here.
That's better, I think.
Yeah.
Just wanted you to see that fireworks show. I thought you might enjoy that.
We did. We loved it.
A quick one. Yeah. So it's just so many festivals all wrapped up in one year. I really don't have anything to add. I'm sad that I have to go home, although it's a quick one. A little bit apprehensive about coming back because I do agree with Brendan that that might be when the police do take action, when the crowds are okay. This is too much crowd under control. They can't, like you said, they're not going to bring the SWAT team in when we've got all these kids.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a little different tonight. I wanted you guys to just come on my walk. I was kind of trying to kill two birds with one stone, to be fair. And hopefully you guys got some more viewers too, right? And then everybody can know who these two guys are that I keep talking about.
Yeah. Well, we really appreciate everything you're doing down there. People here love you. The comments are, everybody just, Carla, where's Carla? All night they've been asking for you.
Well, see, they got to go for a walk with me tonight. Isn't that great?
It is great.
We all walk together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic. So we'll let you go because it's cold, and we can maybe check in with you tomorrow at some point. You're leaving tomorrow, though, right?
I'm leaving tonight, actually, around 2 o'clock in the morning. I could be back in Sarnia. I have a baby shower at 1 o'clock. It's for my grandchild, so I have to be there. And so I was planning to come back Monday, and then I thought maybe I'll take a day at home, see what my kids did in my house, all those good things. I have adult children living with me.
Okay. All right. Well, fantastic work and great footage and very helpful to everyone across the country.
It's been
and maybe even around the world.
It's been amazing. It's just been amazing being able to share this with everyone. I mean, we wouldn't, anybody who's on the ground experiencing what I'm experiencing, who wouldn't want to share that? Who doesn't want to spread that? You know,
Yeah.
it's easy, it's been an honor. I'm pretty lucky. So,
All right.
I'm lucky to have met you guys. Thanks so much. As
Thank
always,
you, Carla.
great talking with you. All right,
Okay,
good night,
awesome.
guys. All right.
Okay, see ya. Bye. Stay safe.
I will.
And that's Carla Olson. She's super awesome, and everybody loves her. And she has just been a beacon of positivity through this whole thing, man. Like, and I think what can I say? She's kind of carried that whole vibe from the event and just transmitted it right through here.
From day one.
Yeah, all the way along. So great footage, great commentary, great perspective from her.
Absolutely. Well, we are 3 hours in, and it's Saturday night, so I have things I must tend to. It's been great taking this adventure with you, Mr. Rick Walker. So, Brendan Kennedy with the Flow of Discourse podcast, signing off.
And I'm Rick Walker with Maverick News and Maverick Multimedia, and you've been watching Freedom Convoy 2022, cruising to the Capitol.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and ring the bell to get notifications. It would really help us out as we continue to try to do these broadcasts and bring you unfiltered, uncensored, unedited footage and analysis of the convoy. Have a great night. Take care. Catch